Hello, my application is called Binges. The idea is that people are always telling me that I need to watch a particular TV show, listen to a certain album, read a certain book, or maybe buy a certain product or visit a certain place. I write these things down on different computers or on different notepads or sometimes in my phone notebook, but they're not all synchronized in one place. I thought it'd be cool to have shared watch lists between one or more people or between my different devices and have them all synchronized. So on the left, you see I have a Nexus 6P running Marshmallow, and on the right, you see I have an HTC One running Jelly Bean. On the left, you can see I am logged in, and at first I see a feed of what all the other users of the application are doing, what they've read recently or watched recently, and things that they might have added to their own listening or reading lists. On the right, you can see I have a navigation drawer that shows all of my different cues. By default, I have a watch list, a listen list, a reading list, and a buy list. So I'm going to go to the reading list, and you can see all the different books that I plan to read here. Now, I might be somewhere and see that Larry over here has read Crime and Punishment, so I want to add it to my list. So if I click Add List over here, you can see Crime and Punishment is immediately added to the list here. This is because I'm using Firebase, which is a backend as a service key value store, and it has different listeners you can use and adapters to be able to listen on key value store. So I'm pushing Crime and Punishment to the list when I hit Add to List, and this list view and adapter automatically pick that up and synchronize it over here. So if I load the same reading list over here, you can see Crime and Punishment is on both of them. And what I can do is actually delete it over here, and you can see it's immediately deleted on both devices. Now, how do I add something to the list? Well, you see I have a navigation drawer, and I have a search widget here in the toolbar. So let's say I want to go to my watch list, and I decide that I want to watch, someone told me to watch Fight Club, and I've never seen it. I can search for it and start typing the name of the show, or the movie. So I'm going to click Fight. I'm going to type Fight in, and you can see I pull in, this launches an asynchronous task that makes a web request to the movie database API and returns all the different movies that have Fight in the title. And so you see the first result here is Fight Club, but there's also a lot more options here. I used a library called Picasso by Square that automatically handles asynchronously loading all of the poster images based on the URL. So we don't want to tie up the UI, so it loads first and then pulls in all the images asynchronously. So I see Fight Club and I want to add it to my list. So I click the name of the movie, and you can see it pulls up the description from the API, and it gives me the larger poster and the option to add it to my list. I have my watch list loaded on the HTC One on the right, and if I click Add to List here, you see it immediately shows up on my other phone, which is awesome. And then I can delete it and synchronize it, do whatever I want to do. And I can also, see, what's another option? I can go back and I can look at my names here of my different shows. And I can also click the name of one of the shows, so House of Cards here. And then whenever something's already on your list, I'm going to add different buttons to access that content via other APIs. So House of Cards would pull up an option to watch the movie on Netflix. And if it's a product, I might have affiliate links to buy the item on Amazon or link to the iTunes affiliate program so that I can get some referral revenue from this. The other thing we do is we have an on long click listener, so I can actually hold this down and it'll bring up a dialog. And so if I want to rename this to House of Cards, add some stuff to it, you can see we're also synchronizing any edits. I'm going to show how this is applicable on other platforms like the web and iOS.
Not only does Firebase have libraries for Android, they also provide libraries for iOS and for the web. So if you wanted to, you can make an iOS application that listens on the same list, or make a web application that listens on the same key value store. On this desktop here, you can see I have an Android emulator. This one's running Lollipop, and on the left you see the actual Firebase database that it lets you browse. I just wanted to show how the web can also pick up the same changes. So if I long click on House of Cards here, I can change the item name back to House of Cards, and you can see the item name and list here that key value. And I click Edit Name, and you see how it in real time picks up the change over here on the web. So it would be cool to make a JavaScript application also that listens on the same data. Now, how does all that work? Well, Firebase has Firebase objects, and those map to a particular URL, and you can crawl through the keys and values, and then Firebase provides these different listeners where I can listen on data change in one of these snapshots, and when I listen on the change, I can update everything accordingly. I have a bunch of different search tasks here, so you can see I have a movie database task and different providers to provide the different data I need, and these map back to binge list items and search results, and then I'm able to display them on all the devices. So what's left? I'd like to implement some additional data providers that I didn't get to finish yet. For instance, I'd like to create a Spotify provider that will pull in all the details of a particular album, artist, or song and display them on a listening details page. And also, it would be cool to be able to immediately play that song or album and launch the Spotify application and launch its intent and play that music and hear it. I'd also like to finish up an Amazon provider so that I can make purchases and keep track of an Amazon wish list from this application. Finally, on the communicate here, I didn't get to finish this. I would like to be able to invite people to share these lists. So I could use your email address, send it to you, and then you could download the app and add and subscribe to this list. And then both of us could add to it, and we could have a shared listening or watch queue that's between us. And what's cool about that is the feed activity could continue to grow, and I could see what you're watching and add it to one of my own custom lists. And from here, you could maybe make recommendations from that, because you'd have a bunch of users, and you could see who likes similar things. Do people that listen to one particular album like to read or watch another thing? There's a lot you could do with this by having all these different people and knowing what they want to consume. That's it.